Hello and welcome. It's Tuesday at 2 p.m. and this is Ask the Etiquette Expert. I am your etiquette expert, Jacqueline Whitmore. I'm also the founder and director of the Protocol School of Palm Beach, and I'd like to welcome you to this series that I do every single week. Today's topic, I'm going to be talking about the lost art of writing thank you notes. How many of you out there love to receive a thank you note? If you do, let me know in the comments or raise your hand. I wish I could see your hands, but I'll be looking for your comments as we go along in the um, in the session. And I certainly want you to hit subscribe and like and share if you feel like sharing this with your friends. But today I'm going to be talking about the lost art of thank you notes because tomorrow I have an interview with a reporter who's doing a story on this very subject. And we're approaching some holidays like Mother's Day. We're approaching college and high school graduations where people will start getting gifts. Maybe your birthday is right around the corner. And then we'll also be approaching summer. And when we travel, oftentimes we stay at friends and families' homes, and that's always a great time to express our gratitude and thanks. So, I'm going to be taking you through a step by step process that I use in writing my thank you notes. So, before I begin, if you would like, you can get out all your favorite things to write your thank you notes, and you can get a pen and a paper and take notes if you'd like. But that's the first thing I want you to think about. Thank you notes are so much more fun when you have the right tools. And one of the tools that I would recommend that you invest in for yourself is a nice pen. And I happen to love nice pens. This one is it's not any special brand, but I just love the feel of it. I love the wood. I love the color. It's just got that really warm feeling. So you may want to start collecting pens. The next thing you need is your own stationery. Now that may sound frivolous. However, I think that it helps establish your personal brand when you buy your own stationery. And there are a lot of places online that you can go and you can order stationery with all kinds of insignias on them. You can order stationery with your name, your initials. Maybe you like turtles or unicorns, and you can just get really creative and let your thank you note showcase your personality. And so I want to show you two of my thank you notes that I use. The first one is the one I use most often for business, and this one is quite elaborate. It has my name on it, as you can see, and the name is embossed, it's in calligraphy. And this was created for me by a calligrapher in New York by the name of Bernard Meisner. And Bernard and I met at a wedding many years ago, and we sat beside each other and started talking. And of course, one thing led to another. And I said, "Well, what do you do?" He said, "What do you do?" Well, it ended up that I was in New York City several months later, and I actually went to his studio and I chose the stationery that I really wanted. And what I really like about this is it's quite thick. It's a cardstock, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but it has a gold rim all the way around. And it's just, I think it's got a lot of class. It's sophisticated, and it's part of my brand that I want to portray to other people. However, when I'm writing a thank you note to friends or family, I can be a little bit more creative and fun. And so I had these thank you notes made many years ago. And this is Cooper and Abigail. Abigail's still with us, but Cooper passed away last February. And when they were both puppies, I had this card designed by a local artist. And I believe she just took a pen and just sketched out their portraits. And I use that for every day or for more casual notes. So there's nothing wrong with having more formal notes and then also casual ones. What's the difference between a correspondence card and, let's just say, a more social note? Well, a correspondence card is just that. It's a card, just like what I showed you. And a fold over note, for example, one that if this had my name on it on the front or my initials and it actually folds over, this is more social. That's the difference. So the correspondence cards are more for business and the foldovers are more for social. So you decide what works best for you. Also, the next thing you need is stamps. I love going to the post office and collecting unique stamps. And here are a couple that I'm using currently because this is the year of the rabbit in terms of the Chinese New Year. I picked up a few of these. I love the metallic feature on these. You can see them. And then also, if you like books, you might have read Shel Silverstein's book, The Giving Tree. And this stamp, here, we'll show you there. That is, that's from his book. So I encourage you to go to the post office and choose some lovely stamps and just tuck them in your drawer. And every time someone does something nice for you, get out your nice pen, your stationery, your stamps, and write your thank you note. Which leads me to the next point is how to write a thank you note. So I believe that you don't have to go on and on and on. A thank you note can be very short, sweet, simple, but it must include the following things. First of all, it has to include the person's name, hello, so-and-so, or dear so-and-so. That's how I usually start my thank you notes, dear Kelly, dear Tim. And then instead of doing the obvious and saying something like, thank you for the book that you sent to me, instead, I might put an element of surprise in and say something like, how in the world did you know that I love mystery novels? I adore the book that you sent, and you want to, of course, put the name of the book or the name of the gift that was given, and how you plan to use that gift. For example, I might say, I can't wait to read the book on my vacation to Italy. And it just personalizes it just a little bit. Or if someone gives you, let's say, a housewarming gift. It could be an orchid, like you see behind me. My orchids are blooming this time of year. It could be a blender. It could be something that you hang on your wall, some artwork. You could say, I absolutely love the print designed by blah, blah, blah. I can't wait to hang it in my family room. It's sure to brighten up the room, something like that. So you only need about 4 or 5 lines, but you want to make sure that you express your gratitude, you name the gift, how you plan to use it, and then the last line is simply thanking the giver for the gift again. I appreciate your friendship and gratitude. Looking forward to seeing you next year. love, sincerely, warm regards, kindly, thank you. These are all common ways to end a thank you note. And I always like to put something before my name, like kind regards, best regards, warmly, with gratitude. These are just a few of the ways you can end your thank you note. And for those of you who are just joining me, welcome. My name's Jacqueline Whitmore, and this is Ask the Etiquette Expert. It's a weekly series I do every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And I invite you to certainly leave a comment. And if you like this series, click like, subscribe, share with your friends. And I would certainly appreciate it. So, before I go any further, I want to recommend a couple of books that I have in my etiquette library. And if you love all things etiquette, or if you love writing thank you notes, you might want to go to your local bookstore or online bookstore and check these out. Now, this book that I'm getting ready to show you is one of the Bibles in the etiquette world. And this happens to be an older copy. They have since updated this, but this is Crane's Blue Book of Stationery. And what I love about this book is if I'm getting ready to send out an invitation to a party and I want to know how to address someone, or whose name is written first on the invitation, or how do I address a judge or a congressman, or not that I invite judges and congressmen to my parties, although that would be nice. You certainly know how to do that. Maybe it's a reverend, maybe it is your local mayor. But this book is so wonderful in that not only does it help you figure out whose name is first on the envelope, or how to address that person and what honorific to use, it also gives some really great tips on how to word a wedding invitation, which I believe it's probably the original reason I bought this book many years ago, back in the 90s, because I was getting married back then and I wanted to know the proper way of wording my invitation. Nowadays, everything's so casual and people don't pay too much attention to that, but I certainly do, and back then I certainly did. So if you're having a party, it will give you some ideas on how to address people. It talks about invitations and all kinds of fun things. The next book I'd like to recommend, now this one is a little less formal, but equally as useful, and it's called Forms of Address, a guide for business and social use. And this one I don't see quite as much anymore, but what I love about it, it's got pictures, how to address an envelope. Can everybody see that? And I love that. For example, in business correspondence, this one is the Honorable George Wilson. When do you use the word honorable? And so it's got a lot of examples of how you would address the envelope as well as what's inside the envelope. And the third book I want to recommend, this one is extremely extensive. This is for the serious etiquette aficionado. Am I saying that correctly? Aficionado. This is titled Honor and Respect, the Official Guide to Names, Titles, and Forms of Address. It was written by my good friend, Robert Hickey. And I love this book. I refer to it whenever I get a call from, let's say, a university or a city or state government official, and they want to know, well, how do I address so-and-so? I've got a very important party coming up. And so let's say they have a prime minister coming to a dinner? How do you address the prime minister, not only in correspondence, but also in speaking? How do you speak to that person? So what I love about this is Robert has done so much research for us that we can basically turn to any page like this one I've just turned to, page 378, the mayor of a city. You in the envelope, the official way to address a mayor would be, I believe this one, if I'm not mistaken, is this the mayor of a city? It says, the right worshipful, the mayor of, let's just say Palm Beach. And then you would, in the salutation, you would say, "Dear Sir, Madam." The complimentary close would be, "Yours faithfully." I have a feeling that this is municipal officials. Yes, yes. So we've got sheriffs, we've got mayors, aldermans. Oh my goodness, justice of the peace. So it's really quite extensive. And if you want to add that to your library, that's certainly a good one. Another one, which I don't have anymore, but I did want to show you, and I'll put this one in the notes, in the show notes. But this one is really easy to read. When I moved from Palm Beach to Mount Dora, I probably gave it to charity by mistake. And this one is titled "Just a Note to Say." Just a note to say. And it is by Florence Isaacs. And what I like about this one's different than all the others that I showed you, because what it does, it actually tells you what to say in a thank you note. So if you're wondering, well, how do I say thanks for the housewarming gift or my birthday gift? Florence Isaacs has written it for you. Now, I recommend that you put your own personal spin on it, give it your own personality, personalize it whenever possible. But this is a great starting point. At least it will give you a framework or a template for you to take a look and share. So today I'm talking about thank you note etiquette. Welcome to those who just joined us. And I would like to share with you a special gift from me to you. If you go to my website, which is etiquetteexpert.com, I have a free ebook. It's titled Master Your Mingle Ability. And if you go to my homepage, etiquetteexpert.com, and you scroll all the way down at the bottom, and there may even be a pop-up box too, you want to just sign up down there at the bottom, and you will be added to my newsletter list, and you will get a downloadable version of this ebook right away. It's called Master Your Mingle Ability, and it will help you with being more comfortable and confident in business and social situations. And as we know, we're all getting out more now. We're going to parties and events. Thank goodness we're going back to work. We are getting out of our homes and into the public again. And I know from personal experience, I was at an event last week, and it was an event that I was invited to at the Citrus Club in Orlando, Florida. And I only knew maybe 3 people in the whole room. Well, one of them was the host, so he was busy working the room. The second person was my fiance, who went with me. And of course, I've heard his stories over and over. He's heard mine. So we were looking for other people to talk to. Well, lo and behold, we ran into someone whom we met last December at a holiday party. But after we spoke to him, now we looked at each other, and we wondered, okay, what do we do next? Well, because I teach this information, how to work a room. And by the way, these great tips are in this ebook, Master Your Mingle Ability. I had to stop and pause and take a deep breath and follow my own recipe for working a room. So I encourage you to get your hands on that. So, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. We are talking about thank you notes. I would love to know, when was the last time you received a thank you note? If you could put that in the comments, I would love to see. Um, and someone said, Jen asked me, did you say worshipful? I believe I just closed the book. I actually did, which I think, um, yes. Anyway, I'm sorry I didn't get that comment before, but yes. Um, Thank you very much, Jen. Thank you for joining us. And Marty, if you're with us, welcome. So I started writing thank you notes when I was probably 6 or 7 years old. And I just want to share this last story with you before I conclude. And this is why I think it's so important for parents and grandparents to teach their children how to write a thank you note, because I don't believe the thank you note is dead. I just believe that it is an endangered species, if you will. So when I was a little girl, I used to get cards from my grandmother, and usually there was a $5 bill tucked inside. Now, that was a lot of money way back then. And my mother insisted that I sit down with a note, a pad of paper, and with my pen or pencil, and write my grandmother a handwritten thank you note. Even though it was $5, I could have called her and said, thank you, grandmother, which we probably did anyway. But back then, long distance phone calls were very expensive. So this was um, a way for me to learn the practice of writing thank you notes. It also taught me the appreciation of receiving gifts. And I also have a feeling that my grandmother loved getting the thank you note from me in my own handwriting. It wasn't written by my mom at all. She might have helped me with the spelling of some words, but I truly believe that we should instill this practice of writing thank you notes into our children at a very early age, as soon as they're able to hold a pen. And even before that, they can take some paint and put their handprint on a piece of paper. They can take crayons, they can draw a picture, and then the mom or the parent or the guardian can write a personal note and put it with the artwork and send it to grandmother. But I think it's so important for children to learn this. And the other thing I want to end with is this. I speak at a lot of colleges and universities, and I get the question all the time from my students, and they'll always ask, after a job interview, is it necessary for me to write a thank you note if I've already sent an email thank you? The answer is yes. Do send a handwritten thank you note, even if you have sent an email thank you note. The reason is email can get lost in the shuffle accidentally. It could fall into the spam filter. And think about how many emails you receive each and every day. We're literally inundated with them. But think about when you go to your mailbox, you reach inside and there's a bill, there's a flyer, there's another bill, and there's another flyer. And then tucked inside all of the propaganda is a handwritten thank you note with a pretty stamp on beautiful stationery. And this one person took the time to put this thank you note together, go to the post office, mail it, Doesn't that make you feel special as a person? Doesn't it make you feel appreciated? And I believe that we need so much more appreciation right now in this world, that we're literally just walking through the world feeling underappreciated. And if someone takes that little extra step, that time to recognize you and recognize something that you did, even though it might have not been a big deal for you, it just makes the world a better place. So I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you with that food for thought. I'd like for you to go out and invest in a nice pen, a nice piece of stationery. And by the way, I love crane.com for quality stationery. It's 100% cotton. It's beautiful. And I want you to buy some stamps. And the next time someone does something special for you, don't wait months and months. Don't even wait weeks. Now, if a week or two goes by, life happens. We know. But what I want you to do is, as soon as you receive that gift, sit down, and this is what I like to do. I like to type out my note first. Then once I've typed it out, then I will look at it and then I will write it. Because once I start writing on this expensive stationery, I don't want to mess it up. So that's why I think about what I want to say. I write it out on the computer, then I look at it, and then I write my thank you note. Then, of course, you address it, put the stamp on it, you put it in your mailbox, and you wait. And you will probably receive a thank you for the thank you. So that's it. That's it for today. Tune in again every Tuesday at 2. This is Ask the Etiquette Expert. And for those of you who are just joining us, don't forget to go to my website, etiquetteexpert.com, and scroll down to the very bottom and get your copy of my free ebook, Master Your Mingle Ability. It's absolutely free. You'll be put on my newsletter list. You'll be notified when my next etiquette classes are coming up. And again, don't forget to like this series, subscribe, share it with your friends. And until next time, I wish you a very happy Tuesday. Have a good day. Thanks.